Hi everybody, Jo here again. How are you doing? I hope you're keeping well. How are things going? I thought we'd have a little catch up today, and what I want to share with you is a design similar to this one, and it's just focusing on, we've got some lovely new stamps from Lavinia Stamps, and I just thought I'd show you a nice design using them. Now this is a very generic design, so it could be used for a birthday card, but also you could put a Christmas twist on it. I'm thinking add some holly and berries into this here, and you've got a Christmas card. And the focus is this gorgeous new little figure. Now let me check. I do believe he is called Pan. It's the hardest thing with these new stamps. I can't wait to use them, and then I have to try and remember the names. But isn't it gorgeous, his little face? Now again, whether he's heading somewhere or heading home, I think he's going home for Christmas. So that's I have to have a little story, don't I? Now, as always, we're going to start. This is a 6x6 card blank. So I've got a piece of multifarious card, and it's 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And I've already put my black Sharpie line round because, again, you don't want to see me doing that. And I like to do it at the beginning just so that it's done in readiness. And also, if I was to make a mistake, you know, sometimes where it whizzes, hopefully it shouldn't as long as you put pressure on. But if it did, I could just turn it over and nothing's lost. So I'm going to pop my card over there. And the colour I'm using today is one of the elements. As you know, when I get new ink pads, I like to do a whole card design using that colour, just so I really get to grips with the colour. And this one's Bermuda. And I've got my stencil brush. And we're going to start by making our wreath. And two ways of doing this. I love the acetate circle masks. And you can either use the mask this way to add some ink, and it will give you a smaller wreath, but I'm going to use the innie, the larger circle. And what we're going to do is just get some ink on my brush, and it's a new ink pad this, so it's really, really juicy. It's going to take some off, and I'm going to put the mask in the middle there. And again, I've got my Posca on it, just so I've less chance of losing it. And as always, start on the mask. And I'm just lightly going to flick a little bit of ink and go all the way around just to make a start. And this is where, again, be nice and gentle. You don't want to be heavy-handed with this. We just want to give ourselves a basis so that then we can stamp. And we've got that nice circle ready for the wreath. And I'm just going to almost make a circular motion now and just go round. Again, picking this ink up as I go round. And I don't want to, if I bring my brush out of the way so you can see, I'm not coming far away from the mask. I want a little bit of sort of greenery to give me a nice shape to follow with my stamping. Now what I am going to do is add extra ink at the base here. Now you could use low tack masking tape on this, but I'm just going to hold it because if it moves I can see where the circle is. And just to help with my perspective and give a bit of depth, I always like my depth in the bottom right hand corner. Just a little bit more ink along the bottom and that, so that when I take the mask away, that's what we've got. And it's just that basis, that's all we're looking for, and a bit more colour here. So I'm just going to wipe that mask, because again, for me, it's always important to wipe it before you put it away, and then it saves getting ink on your hands and ink all over the card where we don't want it. We'll put those back in the plastic container. And what we're going to do now with this ink that's on here, we're just going to blend some ink round the corners and round the sides, but leaving a white sort of halo there. So again, just always ink up on the corners and round we go. These brushes are just perfect for this. So again, I'm starting on the corner because I've got the most ink. Such a lovely colour this. And with it being that sort of lovely, sort of almost quite a sage, quite a deep green, I'm thinking it's almost like a lovely Christmas green. Down that side. and that's just built that up lovely. Now again, if you had a day, for me, if I'd got some ink pads and say I'd got a day and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, I could create quite a few of these in different colours, because again, I get a bit bored if I do them all in the same, got to be honest. But yes, I would just create a few, and then they're ready to be stamped up when you want to do your stamping. So let's put that there. So we're having it that way. And what we'll do now is we're just going to stamp. Now I'm going to wipe that up. Normally I wouldn't, but just for the purposes on here, if I don't, I'm going to stick my arm in it or something. So I'll try and keep it nice and clean and tidy. Just get some copy of paper. Now, he's absolutely gorgeous, so we'll stamp him in black. And again, I just want to make sure I get him. He's quite a substantial stamp. So I just want to make sure I get plenty of ink on him. Nice light tap. And obviously I've just got some over here. And then I want to place him. So sorry if my head comes in the way, but I just want to place him right there. And again, because he's a silhouette, just want to give that ink time to soak in. What I love about designs like this is that you can take it to any level you want. Might be you haven't got these stamps yet. I know you lovely ladies that watch in America and Australia, I know it takes a while for the stamps to get over there. But with this design, you could use stamps you've already got. That's what's lovely about such a design. So again, just giving him time for that ink to soak in. If I lift that up there, he stamps absolutely beautifully. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some stamping around the edge. And for that, we've got this lovely small branch. And also, I'm going to stamp the wreath. And for that, we've got this lovely red berry stamp. Now, on the red berry, there's a larger stamp, look, and a smaller one. And it's the smaller one that I'm going to use. What I didn't want to do was just obviously use the large one. I have used it, but I think that's obvious that for the wreath. So I thought I'd show you how you can use the small one. And because we've got this shape, and again, if you just pop your head over, you can just, so anybody who's a bit unsure of how to stamp and get the lovely shape, because you've got it with the ink, and all I'm going to do is just follow the shape round. Oh, look, I've got a bit of ink on my block there. Don't worry, we'll get rid of that. We'll just put that over there. Stamp over it. And again, always turn your work. Make sure you can see. So again, I'm just turning this work. But what I'm trying to do is keep, if I show you, is keep that branch there on this line here, and then it'll give me that overall shape. So just being mindful, I keep catching the end of my block. Obviously, you can put your head over so you can look properly. I just don't want you to keep getting the top of my head. And again, you will take your time. But again, I love using little stamps and just seeing how much they can work. These little worker stamps, as we call them. So we're nearly gone all the way around. Now at this point, do we need one? I think just one in there will fill that perfectly. And a little tip, when you're starting your wreath, I started there, if you notice. So on a clock, that's probably between 1 and 2. That's a good place to start, or either of the bottom sides here or here. And that's because your eye will not automatically go there. If it wasn't going to join up properly, if you do it at the top, say, of the figures on a clock, 12, 3, 6 or 9, your eye will automatically go to those places first. So it's best to start mid them because your eye doesn't go there. So if it doesn't quite join up and you need to do a little bit more or less stamping, it's more forgiving. So that's a little tip for you. So what we'll do now is bring in this lovely small branch. And I just want to add a little bit of foliage around the sides here. Now, I'm going to stamp in black again. But like I say, I'm going to do the corners first. If you wanted to make this more of a Christmas design, you could bring in your lovely pound holly stamp and a little berry stamp. We've got quite a few of the berry stamps you could use. And I'll do all 4 corners first, just to give you an idea that you could just leave it with the corners if you wanted. So again, we've got the basis of a lovely design there, but I just want to add a little bit more. Just in between here. And for me, it's these little bits. So I'll do the same. But again, this is one of those stamps that I think is going to be so useful. Another one of those little worker stamps. Now again, I could have done this in green and put tone on tone, but I just liked the idea of that black frame. And I think with Pan being a silhouette, it helps if I've got black somewhere else in my design. Just one more side, and again, turn your work. I find it easier. I mean, it might be somebody who can stamp at different angles, but that doesn't compute in my head. There we go. So we'll take that off there. Now what I will do is just turn that over and give that a good blot. Just because I don't want to smudge. Again, your VersaFine Clair, slower drying ink, so give it a good blot. Turn that over. Oh, just thinking while I'm doing my stamping, I'll bring in this beautiful Christmas charms. Now, 3 beautiful Christmas charms, look. One with a star in the middle, a lovely bauble, and this one, which for me is the star of the show. No pun intended. And I just want to put that. I needed something for young Pan to look at. So I'm thinking he's looking at this star here, and that's just going to stamp there. There we go. And to me, that's what he's looking at. So we'll just blot that. And that's our stamping. And again, you could leave it like this, but I think that just looks a little bit bare to me. So I want to bring in the landscape, and again, I want to go for the smaller of the circle masks this time. And I just want this peeping in the corner here. So back with the same colour ink. And again, really important to dab some ink off. And I don't want this too much in the picture. So I'm just going to gently flick. And again, I want to keep it all tone on tone. I want to keep it very soft. And I only want to I don't want to come into the design here, just in that corner. That's lovely. And then I'll come in with my landscape masks. And I'm going to go for the flatter one. So that's number 1 in my head. Now, you could mask off this area, but I don't feel I need to. So I'm just going to hold my mask there. And again, always ink on the mat. And I always want it darker under where my silhouette is, because there'd be shadow there anyway. And then gently flick outwards and just go as far as the edge of the wreath. And we'll just change position a little. Just get a nice shape. Yeah, we'll go for that one. And again, I'm not going to re-ink because I want this lighter. Because again, the hills as always, to help with perspective, they will be lighter in the distance. And we'll have one more, I think. Let's put this here. And again, nice light up this. And again, if I want to just see, lift it, yep, that's enough. Don't need any more. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So, a couple of other little things I'm going to do. And I want to add some white pencil just to pan. Now, again, I'm using my white chalk pastel pencil just to give highlights. Your white gel pen would work just as well. As you know, I just find for me, my pastel pencil is a little bit more forgiving. I'm a bit heavy-handed with my gel pen. But again, you use whatever you find best. So I think that'll do nicely. The reason I'm doing this now is I'm going to flick some water, but obviously if the card's wet, it won't be easy for me to add my shadow. So I'm doing this now and then I'm going to flick that ink and the water. Now I need some shadow under Pan, and I think his shadow will come this way. The moon's there, so I'm just using charcoal pencil. I could use my black chalk pastel pencil and there'll be a bit of shadow there. So we'll just do that. And with my silver signal, I think I'm just going to add some nice twinkle on my star and on Pan's wings. I don't want to add too much because I don't want this to be a completely glittery. Don't want to take away. I love this design so much. So next what I would do is take my fan brush. Again, it's in my water pot. And I'm just going to pick up that ink from there. And I just want to add a little bit of the ink in just into the background here. And then I just want to add a little bit of water off my fan brush just to these corners, just to faux bleach them a little. And again, I'm just going to follow that design round. And I'll mop this up with Mr. Inky Binky, and then I'll just bring the design a bit closer to show you. So if I bring the finished one, if you look, you see this here, that's the faux bleaching, and that's that lovely effect with the water. And it is best if you let it dry naturally. So if I bring mine up here, you can just see that it's just starting, the water is starting to faux bleach. So I would leave that, and that's why I did it now, so that my pencil will be fine, this ink will be fine. Now the only difference to finish off, what I've done is I've added some liquid pearls. And again, to do those, all you do, I would pop some on my mat first, and then literally just hardly let the liquid touch the paper, the card, and then pull the bottle straight up and just work your way around. And again, if it was me, I would always turn the work, and then that way you've got less chance of putting your hand in the liquid pearls that you've just put on. So again, turn your work. So if I just speedily, and again you will take more time than me, whiz round. I hope you sat there now and you've got a nice cheeky brew, cheeky biscuit, or are we having a snack today? What are we going for? Must admit, it's getting a bit sort of more autumnal here, so my soup maker's on its way out. I think it's definitely getting that sort of weather. Oh, now this liquid pearls, this one's platinum pearl, because I wanted to keep, I just thought with this lovely Bermuda colour, it went towards silvers rather than golds. So if I put those two together, now what I'll do is I'll just clean up that little bit of the pearl there. Again, keep it all nice and tidy. And I'll put these next to each other. I was going to open it up like I normally do, and I realised it's on just a piece of white card. If I put those two next to each other, there we go. So I hope you love our new little pan as much as I do, and these lovely stamps. So I hope that's given you some inspiration. As I say, if you haven't got these stamps yet, there's lots of other stamps you could use. I hope you take on this idea. Thank you for watching and spending time with me. It's so lovely to spend time with you. I appreciate all your comments as well. Thank you very much. So you take care, everybody. Love and hugs. Bye for now.